Our last speaker for this session is Burke Foley. Burke is a research associate for the Geospatial Analytics and Decision Management Group at the Institute for Transportation Research and Education, which is ITRI, at NC State University. Don't ask me to say it again. He specializes in data visualization and currently builds online scorecards and dashboards for CoverLab, which is a commercial vehicle enforcement resource lab, and the NC Vision Zero initiative. Burke earned his master's degree in geospatial information science and technology from NC State University in 2011. Burke? Oh, it's plugged in, I think, back there. All right, there we go. So today I'm going to talk about visualizing spatial data with Tableau. Start by asking a question: how familiar are you guys with Tableau? And instead of doing it the way with raising hands and asking that question, let's try to use the app. So if you want to open up the app and go to the sessions, go to this session, visualizing spatial data with Tableau, and then click on the live poll. And while you guys do that, I'll just go briefly over the outline for the talk today. We'll talk about ITRI and CoverLab and the background of why we picked Tableau, and then talk about what Tableau is. Talk about the authoring and sharing options that are available, and then specifically how Tableau handles spatial data, the strengths and weaknesses it has, and then I'll just go into a demo and pull up Tableau and show you how it handles spatial data. So let's see if anybody answered. All right. So we have about 30% never heard of it, 30% have heard of it, never used it. A little bit more have used it a few times, and it's changing. All right, so it looks like a pretty even mix. So I work at ITRI, Institute for Transportation Research and Education at NC State. We do a lot of research, technical support activities for municipal, state, and federal clients. One of the programs that I work on is called CoverLab. It's a commercial vehicle enforcement resource lab, and we provide decision management services for the North Carolina State Highway Patrol motor carrier enforcement. They're the ones that are responsible for inspecting and weighing large trucks and buses throughout the state. They conduct almost like 90,000 inspections on trucks a year. They're spread out all over the state. They also weigh trucks to help preserve road and bridge infrastructure. So since we provide these decision management services and we try to do data-driven approaches, we're looking for a solution to provide a kind of a BI tool, a data visualization tool. And we ended up settling on Tableau, and I'll talk about what it is and why we picked it and what product we actually went with. So what is Tableau? For the about third of you who've never heard of it, it's a data visualization platform, and it lets users connect to lots of different data. You can connect to Google, anything from Google Sheets to CSV to any kind of database, even Google Analytics data. And it lets you explore that data, blend it together to gain some insight, and then you can share that insight or those visualizations in the form of dashboards online or privately within your organization through a server. So there's a few different product offerings that they have. One is the free version, a free platform called Tableau Public, and you can download a desktop version of Tableau Public for free, connect to a few data sources, and then publish it out on Tableau Public for free. There's also a paid version, a desktop version, where you pay for individual licenses for each desktop client, and then you can publish it to either Tableau Public if you'd like, or you can publish it to Tableau Online, Tableau Server, which could either be installed on premise or in the cloud, or you could have, if you just want to share it with somebody that doesn't have that, you can use Tableau Reader. So it's just like a reader application where you can't create any kind of visualizations, but if you wanted to share it with a client and they didn't have any a server login or something, that they could just open it up. So the Tableau Public is a free service. Like I said, it's lets anyone publish interactive data visualizations to the web. There's only a few data sources that you connect to, mostly CSVs, Excel, Access, and now they added Google Sheets, which is kind of cool because you can connect to live data. As you update Google Sheets data, your visualization will be updated near real time. It takes maybe 15 to 30 seconds sometimes for it to be updated, but it's pretty close to real time. And the cool thing about it is that they're pretty generous with how much data you can upload. You can, I think now they keep upping it, but now the data sources for each visualization can be up to 15 million rows. So it handles a lot, and they give you about 10 gigs of storage. And that's a lot of it can be, the data source that's uploaded is highly compressed and highly optimized. So you might have a large data set, but it'll actually take up a lot less space once you actually extract the data. Tableau Desktop just is the same thing, looks exactly the same functionally, just lets you connect to a lot more data sources. And here's a list. I won't read all of those, but it lets you connect to a lot of different databases and lets you publish to, or save it locally, and lets you also publish it to a server. So there's a few different server options. You can either install the server on your on-premise, on a cloud platform, and both of these have the same licensing options, but you can also have a fully hosted by Tableau where you pay per user and you pay a subscription fee where they manage all the server and you can just share your visualizations that way. We ended up going with the Tableau server on a cloud instance on specifically Microsoft Azure. So the motor carrier enforcement, the highway patrol, they could log in from anywhere, and they're able to, these are all supervisors that are making decisions of where to send troopers out to inspect trucks, where to weigh them, to be most efficient at their job. So when they log in, they get a real simple interface up in the top middle. They can track their performance on certain federal goals. And once they click on those, they open up scorecards and where they can track their monthly performance of how they're doing. And they can click on any of these, if they're, say, the red bars up here. Once they click on those, they can find out maybe what was going wrong that month and find out. There's a lot of these other dashboards here where they can drill into the data a little bit more and interact with it. Also, there's some cool things that you can do too. We connected it to Google Street View so they can look at bridges and look at where all the find where maybe posted roads and bridges are and structurally deficient bridges, and then pull up a Google Street View of that. So, so how does it handle spatial data? Which probably most people are interested about here at a GIS conference. But there's a few different base map options that you can use. There's built-in Tableau base maps. Pretty simple. You can add a bunch of different layers on it. There's also Mapbox, connect to any Mapbox a style that you create. And you can also connect to WMS server. You can also interactive data, or the data that you pull in from any of your data sources. You can create filled maps, and these are based on any kind of geographies. Like you might have counties or zip codes. You can also create symbol maps, and also there's some custom geocoding options, and I'll explain about these right now. So the built-in base maps, you have light, normal, and dark themes. You can turn off and off, on and off map layers like boundaries, roads, place names, those kinds of things. There's also some built-in data sets from the census that you can add. So here, this is population that was symbolized, and I didn't have to pull in any data to build that. I just opened up Tableau and clicked on the map and said, show the census data, the population data. Mapbox, which we've been using a lot because it's pretty powerful with the level of customization you can build into your base maps. It's also, they have a free option where there's about 20 different styles and that you can save. So you can basically save 20 different base maps. And they'll, I think, allow about 50,000 views per month, I think, but we don't come close to that. So we were able to use the free version. So essentially what you do is you create a Mapbox account. You can create a new style from built-in base maps. So that just like Esri base maps, they have about the same options. You might have a street-focused base map that you use. Then you can customize the styles through their editor that they have online. And these allows you to do things like turn layers on and off, change the color, size, opacity of things. So in this example, I did something, I don't even know why, but just changed the color of Raleigh to blue. So any city name would be changed, the color could be changed. And then it's as simple as saving it and then hitting share. And there's the Tableau share function where you can just paste the URL into Tableau and your base map will be there. It's really easy to do and pretty powerful with the level of customization for your base maps. You can also add WMS server as well. So with the interactive data that you pull in, there's some built-in geographic roles. So these are things like here, area code, city, county, state, zip codes. So if you're pulling in tabular data and has a field called county with all your counties in North Carolina, it'll recognize that automatically, and you're able to. So I just, this one right here, and symbolized it by, these are crashes in North Carolina, so, or motor vehicle crashes in North Carolina. So you're able to do this really quickly and it's built in. There's also custom geography, so we have a list of municipalities, and we just brought in a data set with a list of municipalities and the lat long for each of those. So we did that in GIS, brought that data set in, and now we have a custom geography built into Tableau. You can also group these, so we have troops for North Carolina State Highway Patrol. So it's a multi-county region, so we can just select the multiple counties in the troop and then save those as a grouping of counties as a troop dimension in Tableau. There's also, right now there's no out-of-the-box shapefile support, and it is coming at the end of the year. I'm on the beta testing team for it, so it is coming, but right now you have to do some workarounds to bring shapefiles in, which is kind of clunky, but that is coming. Symbol maps, you can, if you have lat long, it's just like the say county fields that you have in your data. You can just it'll automatically recognize lat long if you have them named something like lat long or latitude longitude, or you can set them and say this is latitude, this is longitude, and it'll so here's a point map with crashes in North Carolina, and that was done by just bringing in the lat long from the data. And then the built-in geographies that I talked about and the custom geocoding. So these are just counties right here, and they're symbolized by points. So what about lines and paths? Well, again, it's a little clunky, like I talked about with the shapefile support. Not there yet, but what you have to do, and there's some free tools online that allow you to convert shapefiles to this format, but you have to create an Excel or a CSV or any kind of data source that has the path ID, the latitude and longitude of each point along that path, and then give it an order. So here I just made a quick, I visualized this by taking the path ID, latitude, and longitude, along with the order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can see it kind of, and then I symbolized this to show you how and a simple path right there. So that's around where we are right now. So why would you use this if it's so clunky and doesn't have shapefile support and all that? Well, there's a lot of other visualization options, and I'm going to go ahead and just open up Tableau now and kind of show you the other visualization options that are available and show you. So there's some things in there like forecasting, trend analysis. There's integration with R that lets you do a lot of powerful stuff with data. And if I can... There we go. So when you open up Tableau, Tableau Public or Tableau Desktop, this is Tableau Desktop. It'll look kind of like this. I've already imported a data source here. So since I didn't want to trust the internet and firewall rules and all of that, I just extracted the data from our SQL Server into a local file here. So this would be connecting to our SQL Server. That data is extracted onto our Tableau server every week, and so we have a highly optimized extract. The data lets you interact with the data a lot faster. So here's a crash data set. So you can see if we have location, I have the counties right here, and I just double click on it, and the counties are shown right there. So all 100 counties, and we have a point map. So we could also change this to a filled map. So it's not very interesting, it just shows all the counties. But so we want to maybe add a measure here. So we have the count of crashes. If we just double click on that, it'll color by the number of crashes. And it's very quick. These are, I think, about 2 million records of crashes. So it's aggregating these really quickly because of the optimized extract. So this is the Tableau built-in base map. There's some other options here. We have some background maps. This is a Mapbox map that I created. It's really simple. It just has the built-in street map with boundaries of the troops for the troopers. So it's hard to see with the, change it back to the point map. But if you zoom in, you can see the troop outlines here. So that was done in Mapbox. And I've connected to it real quickly. So this is real simple visualization that was done. It's not, there's a lot more that you can do. You can build calculations into here to symbolize, and I'll just show you some things that I did yesterday during a break and, with the crashes. So we have a point map here, and these are symbolized by the severity of the crash, and this is showing 2 million records, over 2 million records of all the crashes in North Carolina. We have the severity, symbolized, colored by severity, and also the sizing by severity. So you can add that. So it's not very interesting unless you zoom in and start looking at it. But I'm going to go through a bunch of these worksheets that I've built, and then all these worksheets can be put into a dashboard at the end where you can interact with it. So this was just made by picking double clicking on the latitude and longitude that were here, and I've had to go in and set the geographic role for these to make sure. So you can set these. If you had zip code data, you could just right click on it, go in here and select zip code or county or whatever you have of the built-in geographies, or you could have those custom geographies that you built. So you also did the trend of crashes here, and this is by month. So you can see there's an upward trend. You can add trend lines. There's also some built-in forecasting options. So all this is after the data that we have. This was, I think the last data for this was January 2016. It's an older data set, but this is, so it's forecasting out. So you could either use the built-in forecasting options, or you can aggregate it by month, ignore some last months, and then it has a few different models that you can use that either use seasonality or ignore seasonality. And then you can add prediction intervals. So this is just the built-in, it's kind of basic forecasting, but if you wanted to connect to R, you could run any kind of R commands to do any kind of statistics you want on the data and bring it in. I also created this calculation here, is red. And all I did here is bring in, say, if the crashes are greater than 17,000, some arbitrary number, then 1, else 0. And so then I just brought that calculation into the color, and now you can see that if it's less than 17,000, it's green right here. So you could do it, this is just like one option that you could do. There's a lot of powerful things you can do to kind of visualize the data, kind of get some insight, especially when you're publishing these to share. It kind of lets people, using best practice visualization techniques, you can kind of give more effective, communicate the data more effectively in your visualizations. So I also brought in the time of day, day of week, and I just aggregated these hours into 4-hour blocks up here and brought the weekday down. And this was just done, just dragging these over. And then, if I didn't want weekday, I could pick month and change it to month. And then it's really quick, and I've symbolized this by the number of crashes. So I'll bring that back to weekday. And then the county map that I showed earlier, this is just the number of crashes, size, or the number of crashes by county, and then you have population layer in the background. Say I wanted to change, I could change that to a Mapbox map or anything like that. Now I've built those 4 things, and that was just done with a few clicks. And then I have a dashboard that I can bring in. You can drag and drop essentially all those maps and charts that I've made into a dashboard, and I can arrange these however I want. You can make mobile. There's some device previews in here, so you can design it for tablets, mobile, and have different designs for different devices. Once you do that, you can set interactions between these. So let's take that off. So if I click on, say, Wake County, just by clicking on it, I've changed every other data set here. And I've set this to interact with the point map here. So now these are all crashes in Wake County. This is the time of day and day of week that those crashes occurred. So I can see quickly that Friday, or 4 to 8 p.m. is where the highest number of crashes are. On Friday, 4 to 8 is the highest. And I can look at the trend in the forecasting for crashes in Wake County. And I could change all these. I could even say come in here, select a certain area, and then have that update the other charts as well. So you can and this is just the tip of the iceberg with what you can do. There's a lot more customization allowed. There's a really great community of people too that are always kind of finding ways to build new visualizations. So it helps a whole lot because there's a lot of resources online. One of the good things too is that people that publish these to Tableau Public, if there's any kind of technique that people have done to build a visualization and you think, hey, that's really cool, you can go and download their workbook and you can open it up and see how they built it, and you can replicate that process. And I do that a lot to, if I see something I was like, hey, this would be really cool to build this, you don't have to go and contact that person and take their time up and ask questions of how they did it. You just download it, look at what they did and replicate it and change it to your data set. So if those of you who haven't heard it, maybe you want to start using it, or it looks like if you're interested in it, I'd recommend start with Tableau Public, download the version, and look and see what some people do. So there's a huge gallery online of visualizations that people have made, and that'd be a good place to start. Any questions? Yeah.
What do your users access via desktop? I know you mentioned that you can have them on different devices. Talk a little bit more about that.
So the question was, what kind of devices are people using, connecting to it on, and are they using are you saying desktop version of Tableau or the actual desktops
Actually accessing
on a desktop? Yeah, so most of our users are accessing it on a desktop computer. So most of all of our users are sergeants, first sergeants, and lieutenants in the State Highway Patrol. So they're spend most of their time in the office and not actually out in the field. So they have laptops, but a lot of them hook up to desktop computers. So they have a pretty big screen. There is an application, Tableau application, and so I use that sometimes to pull up data, and I can pull up any of the visualizations on the phone really quickly and interact with it. We don't design for mobile for the desktop, but for some of the public visualizations, we're designing for mobile, tablet, and desktop, since we'll have a wider audience when you have a public visualization. Yeah. Yeah. So this is very new and recent that we've implemented this. I can tell you when we first brought this to the major of motor carrier enforcement, he was blown away with how easy it was to understand it. He was like, I understand what I'm looking at. That was real encouraging right from the start. We've been monitoring the usage of it, and we have an annual meeting that's taking place in a couple months, and we're going to get a lot of feedback then with how they're using it and seeing if how effective it is at their job. But we think so far from just personal anecdotes that it's been real effective, I think. Does that answer your question? Yeah.
What were they doing before this?
So this is, I didn't go into this, but we had spent a lot of time and effort going and building a SharePoint site and using some of their, pre-Power BI, which was Microsoft's new direction. We had performance point services, which they completely abandoned. So we spent all this time and effort developing something, and then of course everybody knows that once they stop development on it, then you're kind of stuck. You don't have any way to improve it without just rebuilding it in a new platform. So one of the reasons why we picked this is Microsoft tends to throw a lot of stuff at the wall and see what sticks. And we're a very small team. We have a lot of limited resources to build something like this. So we decided to spend the money on something that would actually allow us the flexibility. There's continued momentum with this product. They put a lot of money into continued development, adding new features. It's a very simple upgrade process. It's as simple as like running an install to upgrade to the new version. There's continued support and maintenance. So that's the reason that we went with that. Does that answer the question? Okay. Sure. Okay. Any other questions? All right. Thanks, Mark. Yeah.